Hey, so what's up YouTube? My name is Carmelo and this is Fingers of Fury. And so today I'm gonna be doing just like a day in the shop. I haven't made a video in a while, so I'm just gonna go around and do what I'm doing today and show you around. So the garage is a mess. I've got kind of a new setup here, which is also a mess even though I just moved it, but I've been working on a bunch of like shop and home improvements of just making my life easier. But again, I'm setting up for the fifth element right now. I've got some stuff I got to do that I'll show you, but real quick, I'll show you the new Big Boss. I'm going to put this phone on a stand and bring you around. All right, so again, the main part of this video is going to be me going around the shop and setting up the machine to do fifth elements, which is my pinch trainer. The thumb focus pinch trainer is what I call it. And this is the original version. It's like a prototype actually before I made the production versions, but I'll be setting up, I have a different tool to do the radii in here, and that's what I'll be setting up for. So again, I've got a video specifically on what the fifth element is, so that isn't going to be this, but I will be going over how I set up the machine for that as I run production on it. And then I haven't gone back and watched any of my old videos. I think I went over the Big Boss, what it's going to turn into. So I have machined a prototype. It came out okay. So you can see I thin out a section here to take off some weight, and then the top, so this comes out, and this is thinned out as well, and then we have some tabs up top here, which allows me to put a grip up top. And if my memory is right, I think I was going over like a 3D printed version of testing this out. I've done some strength tests on pushing down on these handles. I 3D printed this bottom half and pressed down on it because that's how we use it. We're going to be, or some of the users, they're going to be doing pull-ups, which isn't very high load, but then you can also do like a deadlift from it. So that's what I was worried about, is that, since we're just clipping this on, is it able to come off under load? And I tested this, it's on my Instagram, I forget, but it's very high, over 1,000 pounds or something like 1,000 pounds on a single grip. So it's quite high. So again, this is a 3D printed grip. Right now this is in PLA as a prototype, but I'll be doing either carbon filled nylon or PETCF, not PETG, PET carbon fiber. So again, this pops off and pops back on pretty easily. So let's show this. And then the goal is to also have inserts in here. And so I originally didn't want to have an extra piece on the top here, but it holds the inserts better. But also, as you can imagine, again, I just talked about how much load I can put down on this before that grip can fail, and it's beyond what any human can exert on this. However, I can't imagine how it would happen, but imagine if it did break. There's these tabs here, which aren't, razor sharp or anything, but imagine you're doing like a deadlift and that thing broke. And if it did break, it's unlikely that your hand would go into it because it probably wouldn't just explode off. But again, it's there. So what I came up with is, what if I just have an extra piece? And that will hold these inserts better. They were just in there loose before. And what this does is the height of this actually mates up with a flat on the inside here. But then additionally, once I decided that I was gonna put this in here, what I can do is this will come down here onto the top face here, and what that will be is add like a guide. So when you're putting this on, right now I have to eyeball it and put it on. Nothing hard, you see the tabs right there. It's really easy to line them up, but that will just be like an extra guiding thing where it'll be really difficult to put this on incorrectly, so it just makes loading it on and off much easier. So this is just, right now, it's a bit ugly because it's rectangular. I'm going to have it follow this radius here, and then I'm gonna put a radius here that is concentric to this circle here, so I'll have a bit of a flow to it that will match the, not that it matters because it's usually covered with the grip, but this will be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. And again, the inserts, they kind of go in like this, and then they can come out real easily. So these are 5mm inserts. You can fit 2 of those in here, and they'll just always be ready to go inside here, which is cool because you otherwise have to hold that somewhere else. So that's what's going on with the Big Boss. On its own, it was a little bit less than 13.5 ounces, which I have a wood portable hangboard here that was just over a pound. And this ends up being the same weight as that wood hangboard. And that wood hangboard does have a pull-up grip on it, but then it only has 2 edge sizes. So this has with the inserts, you'll have a 20, a 15, and a 10 millimeter edge size that you can get from this, right? So that's gonna be really cool, super lightweight for what it is. And that's that. I'm just gonna put that off to the side. And what I've been messing around with as well is, I think one of my most popular videos is some 3D printed holds. I've been just 3D printing as many holds as I can as possible, really just to, let's say my 2-year goal from now is to manufacture climbing holds. Not 3D printed climbing holds, but 3D printing is a super easy way to get shapes on the wall. And I won't say that necessarily any of these shapes that I'm making now are going to be the final product of shape or anything, but it does give me a overall intuition for creating climbing holds. So my constraint is that I do want these to be parametrically drawn. So I'm far from the only person using CAD to draw climbing holds, but I'm trying to keep them like drawing the least amount of features and have them be all parametric. I've made really good climbing holds with direct modeling, and they look much better than this, but editing them is far from impossible if your workflow is right, but this is just super easy. I try to make it in like 2 or 3 sketches, and that's the whole climbing hold. It makes it really easy to say, if I want to change this feature here, this angle, I can like just have it all parametrically defined and change it real quick. In the future is what I'll do is I'll add I need some sort of naming convention that for each hold, if I put it up on my wall and I don't quite like the angle, I want to make it easier or harder. I want to be able to see where I'm at of the version of the hold and just recreate it in easier or harder. So it's another thing that I'm working on, not necessarily related to Fingers of Fury, but long term, I'm trying to create as many of these holds. So whenever I get some free time, I'll model up another holds, which takes like less than 30 minutes to model up a hold, send it to the printer, and have something else to test out in my next climbing session. So I would like to, within the year, change all the holds on my wall to be 3D printed holds. That's honestly gonna be miserable. These have like very little texture. I'm sanding these right now. And again, maybe I'll redo a whole video, but I've had some holds fail now on the wall, and those are all like a matte textured PLA, which has a little bit more texture, but it adds weakness, whether it's the matte texture, the wood texture PLA, even carbon fiber, that all weakens PLA. It's already a pretty brittle material. So I've got just regular PLA, just much stronger, but it's super smooth. So I'm just adding some texture by sanding it. And it's probably comparable to if you've used very, very old climbing holds. If you're going to an old school gym that like has never replaced the holds, it's probably like a texture or lack of texture similar to that. But so I'm going to do a follow-up video to that climbing hold video that I did a while ago at some point, talking about just how that's going. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to show you some of my shop, how some improvements I've made. It's all in process. As you can see in the background there, I've moved some 3D printers there, and then made it a mess because I've just been like prototyping and testing a bunch of stuff. But again, I'm going to walk through, show some shop improvements. All right, so right before this video, or right before I started this video, the electrician literally left maybe 1 or 2 hours ago. So I was able to buy this compressor. Before, I've had 3 110 volt compressors, and that's been limited by, forgive some of my shoddy wiring. This panel is going to be replaced. That's the original panel that was with the house, and it's only 40 amps. So I've had to upgrade this panel to even get a compressor that's that size. So now we have another 125 amps here, plus the old 40 amp panel that will need to be replaced. So I'm going to keep that 40 amps, still have this 125 for any machinery and stuff, and this will just run what it's been running for a while, just in case I still need that 40 amps. So this is it's much quieter. I've got my air dryer here, which I've had for a couple of years or so now, but this is all wired up now. It's way quieter, a lot more capacity, nothing crazy. It's just a 7.5 horsepower compressor. I didn't want to, I could probably go up to like a 10 or a 15, but that would draw so much amps then that, it just didn't make sense. So 7.5 horsepower is a sweet spot for amperage draw and air output. So I'm going to walk over to the shop now and show you what's going on in there. Cool. So this is my shop. I'm not going to drone on for too long about what my shop setup has been, but it's been these 3 compressors. I started with that one, and then would add another compressor as it went on. And this actually maxed out everything, as these 2 compressors were on that 40 amp sub panel, and I would extension cord this to another circuit that was not on that sub panel, so I wouldn't blow a breaker in the shop. So this machine here is rated for 40 amps. Obviously when it's running it doesn't actually pull 40 amps, but again, I had been way overdoing it in the shop for a long time, just kind of hobbling along until I could afford that panel upgrade. And with that panel upgrade, originally it was these air hoses here, just all cobbled together, and so eventually I did these hard pipe lines. So now these are always plumbed in. I would have to move an air line over from this to this, then to my air gun. Now the air gun, the 2 blast cabinets, they're always plumbed in. I've got this on stilts. I'm 6 feet tall, so these cabinets, they're just way too short for me. You get the cabinet from Harbor Freight, and then basically you change everything but the cabinet itself. You put on a pressure regulator. I've got the I upgraded the hoses, the foot pedal. Anybody who's had these cabinets knows what I'm talking about. You have to just like upgrade the whole thing but the cabinet. So I've got this hooked up to a blast gate now and everything. But yeah, so I'm just gonna start moving on to what I'm doing today in the shop. So this has been a huge improvement for me. It saves me so much time on getting products ready. All right, so I lied to you guys. I don't have to measure a tool that I thought I did, which seems strange to me. I'm using this camera like crazy. Hopefully I didn't just lose you there. So I thought I felt like I had done that before, and I did. It's already programmed. I can show it to you later. Right now, this shop is a mess. Again, the electrician left not too long ago, and I wanted to wait until he left to clean up the shop. So I'm going to clean up some space here and just get the material loaded. So again, this will be like a follow me around sort of thing. I'll set up the camera and you can just watch me. This place is a mess, actually. I can show you. I've been running Baby Bosses, and then in the middle of running Baby Bosses, I wanted to stop and get that Big Boss prototype out of the way. So you'll see here, let me see if I can flip you around. So I've got the stack of Baby Bosses. This is all the material that's left for the Baby Bosses. I've got a little bit more than this, but these are the plain backs, meaning there's no nothing other than Fingers of Fury on the back of it. And these are the Dragon Scale. So how I work is honestly kind of based on sales. I can just flip a switch up here, change the program, is how this drip feed works. But I'll just kind of run them, and I can switch off between Dragon Scale and plain back pretty quickly. So I'll just kind of stack these up, wash them, and then they'll kind of come back out here to wait for a media blast, and then I'll hold them in my shipping area. So a lot of times my shop looks like a total mess, but when it comes back to, or when I finally bring it over to the shipping area, I try and keep that pretty organized so I can ship things out without much fuss. And so again, usually when I kind of end up in setup mode, everything just becomes a massive mess. So that's what you see here. I've got hex keys out, jaws that I've pulled out, put back in and whatnot, that all need to be kind of dealt with right now. So that's what I'll do. Definitely going to put the rest of this on quadruple speed or something like that. All right, so it's all packed up now. I've got music playing in my ear, but so yeah, it's all placed next to the machine. Now I just got to set it up. I don't know that I'll videotape all of this, but we'll see. If I do, I'm going to speed it up. So, let's see. Yeah, you know what? You're not going to be able to see in the machine, so what I'm going to do is just do it and then come back. All right, so welcome back. I've got the machine set up, at least for the first op and buy setup. Only physically, I guess, is the way to put it. Is I've got a block in here. This baby bus is in here just to keep these jaws tight. And so that's set. I need to touch it off, but before I do that, which, let's see if I can find it here. I've got this. I had a permanent offset in the machine, but then I got lazy and I just overrode it because it was in slot number 16, and I just put a tool in slot 16, so I didn't write that measurement down. And so now I'm just checking everything. This is my tool setter, which everything is in reference to, and I just need to check and make sure that this is 0. And my camera has decided to make everything not in focus. So in any case, this is zeroed out. This is a 2 1, 2, 3 blocks stacked on the 2-inch height. So that's 4. This just comes across so I can touch it off and make sure that that's true. So sorry that that's blurry. So I'm just going to do some more setup and I'll bring you in for that. Alright, so I'm going to set it up, but a quick pro tip: if you want your camera to autofocus, you want to put the lens on autofocus, and it'll do that. So I'm going to bring this, I got you on a stand right now. Kick that over there. So that seems pretty good. Alright, so the rest will probably be sped up, but I'll leave you here for a bit and see how it goes. So what I just did is I set that tool off on a 4-inch height, and like I said earlier, when I was looking at the tool setter that I was zeroing out on 4 inches, is that I set every tool off to that 4 inches using that. And so all of my tools are 4 inches off of a surface that I choose in there, and then I set this gauge over here to that same 4 inches, and then I use this to set my part origin. So basically, as I zero it out to what I just set there, and then the difference from that 4 inches to the part is what my work offsets end up being on. This will also do the XY coordinates. All super basic stuff for any machinist that might be watching this, but just explaining what I'm doing. Yeah, so that right there is the, I put it in offset 99 just because I don't use it. And so that's the height right there. That's the 4-inch distance off of that surface that I picked in there. So that zeroes out the Z coordinate for right there. And now any distance that I come below that is what I write down in the offset that I'm working in for the machine. So I just realized what I did was wrong. I usually have this sitting on top of another block when I set off all my tools, so it's actually a 6-inch height, not a 4-inch. Easy enough. These are accurate enough for the offsets that I'm setting for rough stock. Doesn't need to be within tenths, so I can actually just bump it up 2 inches and I'll be fine. So I just got my offset backwards. I knew I did it wrong. The 2 inches I added what I needed to subtract, and just for a sanity check for making the offset right for in the future, I just redid that whole process rather than just subtract the 2 from the tool offset and then have to, or if you add it to the tools. Either way, I fixed it and I put it in. I've got my Z height correct. I gotta retouch off a couple tools and I should be good. Okay, so it's all set up now. I just wanted to retouch off a couple tools that I haven't used in a while. I think there was, I might have replaced a resolver for the Z-axis within the time that I haven't used it. I don't remember, so I just want to make sure and retouch them off. So I'm going to go load the program and come back. I don't know how much of the process I'll talk through once it's noisy in here. I'm cutting, but we'll see. All right, welcome back. So I ran op1 on this fifth element here. I didn't bother doing any sort of video during it just because I don't necessarily stand here by the machine. This is my first time running it in a while, but it's not my first time, so I know it's going to work. So I just go and do something else usually. And so here it is. Let's see how well this camera can focus, which is not at all. So yeah, came out pretty good. See if zooming in will help with the focus or hurt it. So there it is. Not that any of the surfaces really matter because I media blast this all, but everything comes out really good. As you can see, I don't know if it'll come up on camera, but sometimes these engravings, as my chamfer mill wears down, it won't be perfectly clean on the inside. But since I media blast it, it comes out perfect once media blasted. Just sometimes there's some kind of like chip recutting that happens in there because this isn't an awesome engraving cutter. It's a chamfer cutter that I use for engraving. But again, I would only worry about that if I wasn't media blasting these, which I am, and then it comes out perfect on everything else. Again, I know that this isn't focusing well, but the other chamfers came out perfect. So now I've got to pull these jaws out, place soft jaws for the Fifth Element in here, move this out of the way, and that's my next order of business. Okay, so that's all done. I don't know if it comes out on video, but it's a little bit of a mess in there. These vices, I think I bought the pair of dual station vices here for like 125 bucks 2-3 years ago, and I've been getting by on them. A lot of like what I was going over today is all the stuff I've been buying to kind of make these processes better in my life so much easier. I've gone back and forth on these vices being one of the things that I buy. Like a legitimate set of really nice vices for this machine, probably be like $2 grand a pop, at least $1 grand a pop anyways, if I just go for dual station vices again. Kind of what I come down to every time on thinking about improving the work holding in here is probably not for this machine. I'd probably just wait even longer, make a bit more money, and just get an entirely, not a new machine, honestly probably another Fadal like this. I'm not doing any super high tolerance work, at least right now. If in the future I do some job shop type work, which I did in here before my daughter was born, there's a lot of high tolerances with that, very feature rich stuff. I could see buying another machine, either a really nice 3-axis with a 4th, or honestly like a small 5 if I do job shop work. But for Fingers of Fury, I think this is enough. A machine like this, I don't like that it doesn't have a top, and the tool changer isn't my favorite. Lots of chips getting there, but other than that, I think these machines for pretty low tolerance work, you know, finger training tools, this has been phenomenal for the price. So I think to not make my products super expensive, I don't want to have a monthly payment that I have to pay on a machine. Honestly, these old machines are fine for what I've been doing for this. So I'd like to get another Fadal, and probably honestly just like leave this set up for the parts that these two vices can handle. Maybe one day I will get new vices here, but honestly, if I just leave them be and let them sit there, they do the job. And they're fine. So I think this machine maybe one day will just end up being a Baby Boss making machine. Baby Boss, maybe Big Boss, all the things that are the same size. Maybe these are just like permanently set up in here, and that's all I run. I get a second machine that I can start doing secondary setups. Like doing the Big Boss is really hard for me to stop production work and then put in the Big Boss to like mess around with. I lose a lot of time on production. And then moving to the Fifth Element, which is different fixturing, you can see that I don't even run vice jaws in this because I don't have the throw for it. But anyways, that's me rambling about this machine. I gotta go back inside, hop on my laptop, and post the program for this, and then I will have to touch it off as well, but maybe I'll videotape that as well and come back. So I'm on a bit of a time crunch now. I got my wife coming here in about 10-15 minutes, and we gotta go buy some sunscreen for my daughter for tomorrow morning. So I have the machine running, and hopefully you can hear me. But on this version, it's going to be exactly the same as the previous version. But I've got this chamfer here, which is just, if you don't know, chamfer is just like an angled edge brake. But I want to add a radius here. The way that we use this, it's not too uncomfortable to just grip it like this. I mean, certainly there's plenty of climbing holds that we come into contact that are less comfortable than this, but I really feel like I can squeeze in an edge radius here, a small one about the same size as here. So there'll be a larger radius here for the edge itself in here, but then a smaller one out here. It's gonna be a little bit more comfortable. So when this finishes, we'll see if that came out or not. The way that I program it, I can't easily simulate it and see what it would look like in person, or not in person, but in simulation on the computer. So when this is done, I'm going to find out how well it works or not. On a Big Boss prototype that I never brought into production, I did something similar where I have a chamfer around most of it, but then I bring a radius around it, and it came out pretty well. So again, I'm just doing this now in parallel to the machine running, so I can go buy some sunscreen before dinner with my family. Okay, so I gotta go real quick, but I'll bring the camera around and show you what I see. So first of all, I think my machine crashed into this guard here. I've showed it before. These things just fell off before, so it might have came even more loose. These machines, this back weight cover really sucks. But it might have crashed into here. I heard a noise, and I looked inside and couldn't figure out what it was. And then later on I saw that. But anyways, if I can bring you in here, you can see it's chamfer, 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 and the radius is here. The surface finish here is good. I really don't know what else to say. It came out perfectly, so this is the way how I'm going to run it. What I'm going to do here, I'm not sure. I might get a mud flap. I see a lot of people just bolt up instead, so I could get a new weight cover, but I don't think it's worth it, to be honest, for the price. But anyways, I gotta go. Thanks for watching, and this is it for now.